Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. We had another weekend of major BCSs, and so let's go over some of the results. If you need any Vanguard cards, go to 50cards.shop, use the code Solemn for a discount, and if you still need any beautiful playmats, go to zerodamagegaming.com and use the code Solemn once again for a discount. As you know, the mats that were previously unavailable are currently available, so go pick them up. So first of all, we have New York V Premium. Once again, V being V, we have 6 Steam Maidens in top 8. Again, shout out to Fuzzy Paradox, by the way, on Twitter for these graphics. When we have 1 Shadow Paladin, so Luard, and 1 Vanquisher. As we know, V is just play Steam Maiden or you're not really playing. You know, anything else is just subpar in comparison. It's kind of sad. I really would like to add more, but I really can't. Then if we go into the top 4, again, first place Steam, second place Steam, third Luard, and we've seen it actually before. We've seen Luard in V get third, I think with Kai from WCC a few weeks ago, and then fourth again Steam Maiden. Then we also had Singapore top 8 V Premium. We have 5 Gear Chronicle, 1 Bermuda Triangle, 1 Genesis, and 1 Link Joker. Pretty interesting ones, actually. You know, Link Joker, Glendios is not something you see doing well very often. Genesis, Fenrir, you know, it does have the way to shut down the turn of Steam Maiden. And then we have Bermuda Triangle Highlander, which is again pretty rare to see do well in V, so that's pretty cool. But again, 5 Gear Chronicle, 5 Steam Maiden, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. However, if we go into the top 4, we actually see Glendios winning, which is wild because Steam Maiden can play around Link Joker if they want to. First place being Gabriel Theo, also very known player as far as I'm aware, unless it's a different Gabriel Theo, so congratulations. Fourth place being Chirhung. I'm pretty sure Chirhung has been in Worlds quite a few times already. Then for the Singapore standard top 8, we have quite some diversity actually. We have 2 Eva, 1 Lutetia, 1 Gravidia, 1 Prison, 1 Mahar, so Nirvana, whatever you want to call it, 1 Barrow Magnus, and 1 Greedon. So there's a lot of different clans right here. Eva really coming back into the spotlight here, especially because the promo came out, and I'm assuming it's legal for this event. Very hard to get though, very expensive, especially in Europe. It's like ridiculous. You could basically have a full price Yu-Gi-Oh deck for a full price Eva deck, which is wild. So hopefully that gets fixed very soon. And if we check out the top 4, we actually see the Lutetia end up taking first place, which is very, very interesting. Then we have our Greedon being second, third being Eva, fourth being Gravidia. So this is interesting that Overdress is changing quite a bit, especially due to promos though. So then for New York Premium, we see quite a bit of diversity. We have 3 Naru, okay, 1 Gear Chronicle, 1 Bermuda Triangle, 1 Spike Brothers, 1 Genesis, and 1 Mega Colony. So Naru, you know, most people know this is like the most consistent deck of the format. Then we have our Gear Chronicle Steam Maiden. Probably, you know, I think Steam Maiden is somewhere in the top 3 of best decks. I don't know if it's the best one or something like that, but definitely top 3. Then we have Bermuda, you know, draw your Katire and you'll maybe win. Then we have our Spikes, which I feel is not quite as good as the other top decks, but it's still like barely in tier 1, I want to say, and it's still very strong. You know, its first try is strong, its ride up is strong. It has a lot going for it. And then we have our Regalia, which once again has just been a mainstay ever since, was it Springfest where it really started catching on? No, it was actually good before that even. I recall BRO it also being good already. Yeah, basically that format, you know, Nightmare Doll, Grand Blue, Eradicator, and then Regalia was solid. It has been solid ever since. It got a little bit of an upgrade with the clan collection as well, though not many people play like a bunch of those cards, but they're really solid. And then finally we have the Mega Colony, which is like a real outlier here. You know, everything else here is, you know, a solid strong deck that I can see topping, but Mega Colony, wow. Mega Colony was also being piloted by Peter, who you probably know as, you know, a commentator mostly. Then if we go into the top 4 for New York Premium, we actually see first place being the Spike Brothers, so that's very strong to see. Second place being Naru, third place being Steam Maiden, and fourth place again being Naru. So nothing really out of the ordinary except for the fact that we have that Spikes actually winning. Then for the top 4 in New York Standard, we have first place Eva, second place the Nirvana, Virina, Mahar, whatever you want to call it, third Eva, and fourth Lutetia. So we saw these also doing well in Singapore, you know, Eva and Lutetia, so it's interesting that they're doing well here as well. Again, I'm going to assume with the promo, which is extremely hard to get right now. Going to the top 8 for New York though, it's now pretty clear why Eva and Lutetia end up doing well, you know, in this top 4. We have 4 Eva That's wild. 4, 2 Lutetia, which is again, you know, just solid, but compared to the 4 Eva, holy hell. 1 Mahar and 1 Greedon. So these are the decks that we really see coming back again and again. You know, Singapore was also very, very comparable. I knew Eva was good, but I didn't know it was this good. You know, maybe Chris, different fight, quite the quite a propagandist right here. It's really catching on. Then for the Singapore top 8, we have 2 Narukami, as expected, 1 Pale Moon, Nightmare Dolls is still solid, 1 Steam Maiden, 1 Bermuda, 1 DI, 1 Spike, and 1 Grand Blue. So once again, nothing really out of the ordinary. The only thing that really changed for premium is that Covetous Succubus came out. Covetous Succubus is a promo for DI, and a lot of people were basically whispering like, oh, this makes the deck crazy. This deck is going to be so good now. It'll be the best deck. Whoa. And then a bunch of people actually entered in Singapore premium with it, and yeah, 1 converted. DI still has the same issues. Like, Covetous Succubus is a great card. Like, I like the card. It is basically if you combine a number of terror with another card, and then you make it not grade 3, so your misride issue is slightly smaller. So really solid for the deck. It's like a number of terror meets Selfish Engraver meets grade 2. That's really solid. But the issue is that you still need to see your charging pieces, and if you don't, the deck does nothing. And then you kind of need to run grade 3 searchers, because if you misride, you auto lose. This is kind of like Great Nature, where like, oh, you drew your non-perfect grade 3 ride, GG. So that's like a really big issue. So you need to play grade 3 searchers, but then that doesn't soul charge. So now you can more often not have the soul you need, so you have to choose between having the grade 3 you need or having the soul you need, and it's just like, you know, that is just like an inconsistency issue I find with the deck. Also, people can deny it, so, you know, if people play Narukami and just keep you at 0 until they have their heals, you know, GG. Okay, can you hard draw into your heal guard? Good luck with that. The luckiest player alive can probably win reliably with NLK, but once your luck runs out with this deck, it's just solid, but not insane. And we see that just time and time again. I think the way you really fix this deck is by just making a grade 3 searcher that also soul charges. That would do a lot. And maybe checks top 8 instead of, you know, top 5. There was a card like this. It's like a Succubus, but the issue is that that costs CB, which is the biggest issue the deck has, you know, if people deny you. So, I don't know. Not the biggest fan of the deck because of its sacky nature, but alright, it doing well is still cool. I still like the clan. I still have it maxed out and everything. Everything else, though, is not too surprising. Again, we do see the Rising here, so Rising making an uptick. Clan Collection did help it quite a fair bit, but nothing else really out of the ordinary here. I just wanted to touch upon the DI stuff because they actually got new support. For the top 4, we then see actually Nightmare Doll getting first place, which is pretty big. Second place being Naru, third place being Bermuda, and fourth place being the DI. Yeah, fourth always hurts because you're always like 1 win away from Worlds, and then you basically had to lose twice in a row to get there, so it's like, it hurts, but yeah, I guess, you know, the luck had to run out at some point. It's just sad that it's, you know, one game too early. Then we also had France the weekend before, and I don't think I covered that yet, so let's go over that. We saw 3 Gear Chronicle in premium, 1 Bermuda, 1 Grand Blue, 1 Pale Moon, 1 Aqua, and 1 Link Joker. Nothing too crazy here. The Link Joker is pretty odd. You know, I could argue for every deck on this chart to be somewhere in tier 1, and I would say Link Joker kind of falls into tier 2, maybe Aqua Forces as well, but still, you know, solid enough to top sometimes here and there. Then for France, we have the first place being Steam Maiden, second being Nightmare Doll, third being Highlander, and fourth being Steam Maiden again. One interesting note that I want to say, we see the winner being Yves I don't know how to pronounce these French names, I'm sorry. Baumler? I don't know, sorry Yves. But he's actually a really solid player. Before the whole V overdress reboot, all that stuff happened, Yves was constantly doing very well with Gear Chronicle. And then I really didn't see him much anymore. I guess he quit, or he kind of took some breaks and so forth. And now he just comes back, plays Gear Chronicle again, and boom, qualifies Worlds again. So that's very cool. Congrats to Yves for that. Then we have France top 4 V Premium. We have first Steam Maiden, second Steam Maiden, third Vanquisher, and fourth Messiah. Also some known names, of course. First place being Johan, and second place being Theo. Then top 8 being 4 Gears, 2 Genesis, 1 Naru, and 1 Link Joker. What's really interesting here is that we have not that many Steam Maiden. You know, it's only half the circle. That's new. And also the fact that we see Genesis Regalia actually doing very well, which is also pretty rare in V. Then top 8 for France Standard, we have 2 Flagberg, 2 Eva, 1 Nirvana, 1 Buff, 1 Tegria, 1 Greedon. Flagberg still doing hot here, then not so hot the weekend after. And Eva, of course, still a mainstay, it seems, for the format right now. Now, if we go to the top 4, the first place is actually the Eva, and then second and third are both Flagberg, fourth being Greedon. Then for Melbourne, we have 2 Eva, 1 Prison, 1 Gravidia, 1 Bruce, 1 Buff, 1 Lutetia, 1 Leonorn. So everything here is to be expected now. I actually didn't know Eva was this crazy in D. I have played against it like twice, and that's it, so I really need to brush up on that part. But the one crazy thing here is the Leonorn. I never see this deck actually doing great. The Lutetia, of course, seems to be doing pretty consistently well as well. Gravidia and Bav and Prison we already know to be solid deck. Grade 3 Bruce, though, okay. Now we go into top 4. We see Lutetia actually getting that first place. Second being Kai from WCC with the Prison. Third being Mark from WCC with Eva. And then fourth being Alexander with Bruce. Then we go to the top 8 Melbourne V Premium. We have 4 Steam Maiden, 2 Genesis, once again 2 different ones, 1 Aqua and 1 Gold Paladin Spectral Duke. But then if we go to top 4, we quickly see a different story. So while we only had 4 Steam Maidens in top 8, I mean, I'm saying only, which is wild, you know, normally 4 is like where stuff caps out. When we saw Melody, when Melody in V was broken, we saw it getting like 4 out of 8 spots and we were crying. Now Steam Maiden, it's like only 4. Wow, it's pretty diverse this time. We see all of them converting to top 4. So not only did they need to get like lucky with the fact that none of them would be paired into each other in the top 8, but then they also need to all win, which is, you know, just showing how insanely strong this deck is. Also, we see a lot of WCC names in here. We have first place Derek, second place Kelvin, third place non-WCC Jim, congrats Jim, and fourth Mark. So yeah, I mean, if you're not playing Steam Maiden in V right now, holy hell. Then top 8 for Melbourne Premium, we have 4 Narukami. However, we do have to split that up because Vanquisher and Vowing are wildly different decks. So we have 3 Vowing and 1 Vanquisher. Again, like, yeah, they're both Narukami, but to say they're the same decks is kind of ridiculous. That's like saying, you know, Ange and Pacifica are the same deck, and they really aren't. So then we have a 2 Gear Chronicle, you know, Steam Maiden solid deck, 1 Bermuda, and then 1 Revenger. Revenger is pretty wild, you know, like it's playable for sure. Chain Ranker's pretty crazy. Being able to do all your rewrite shenanigans and all of that is pretty crazy, but is it top 8 crazy? I wouldn't say so, so congrats to the player. Going into top 4, we have the first and the second both being Steam Maiden. So yeah, Steam Maiden is just a solid deck in both formats. Third being Kai on the Vowing train. I'm so proud of him. And then fourth being Vanquisher. So those were all the tops from the past 2 weeks or so. I hope you found this very interesting. Once again, shout out to Fuzzy Paradox for everything, you know, making all these beautiful graphics on Twitter. Shout out to 50 Cards. If you need any Vanguard cards, use the code Solemn. And of course, Zero Damage Gaming. If you need any beautiful playmats, link in the description, use the code Solemn. All the playmats are back for a limited time. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.